All right. Can you all hear us now? Sorry. I have it muted whenever I'm on the start scene. Okay. Can you all hear? Okay, we'll do this from the top. Hello everyone. My name is Austin Solvey. I'm the project manager for ACM Entrepreneurship. Today with me I have Mark Solvey. Um, Firstly, he's my dad. Secondly, he's the owner of TVT America, and he's done a lot of patent work and other small business activities. Um, would you like to share a bit about yourself, Mark?
Sure. Um, yes, Austin's my second oldest son. I have two sons, Austin and Clayton. Clayton's 27. I have four daughters. Mercedes, who's 32. Josephine, 22. Ava, 20. Mila, 18. Been married for a lot of years. My wife is Michelle. And we, her dad was an entrepreneur. My dad was a farmer, which is basically an entrepreneur in the extreme. Um, the industry that I'm in for 33 years, power transmission, and I've worked with just endless kinds of companies and opportunities. It's been a lot of fun. Engineering and mechanical engineer, and I also studied entrepreneurship. I did that after I sold my first company, which was kind of fun. So the professors um, who were teaching entrepreneurship had never started a company, and I was retired in my late 30s, taking classes from them. That was fun. So it's good to go back to school when you're older.
Mm-hmm. So you're not retired anymore, but
We
so you
started companies at the same time.
can you tell me a bit more about TVT America? What type of business it is?
Yeah. So TVT America is power transmission company, which is a confusing term to people outside of the industry. Power transmission is converting energy into power, mechanical power. So it involves bearings, gears, electric motors, chain, any any type of transmitting of power. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the company I started, the TVT, stands for Tramec, Varmec, and TLS, which were three Italian gear manufacturers, small companies, also founder owned and operated in Bologna, Italy, except for, I guess, in Italy, I should say, because Tramec is in Bologna, which is in the north of Italy, and then also Varmec, which is closer, is in Thien, which is closer to Venice, so it's a little bit farther north yet. And we started that in January of 2003. No, with no money. Took,
All right. I think your microphone is going robotic.
sorry. To help
The
closer?
No, it's robotic due to latency.
Sorry. I'm not a robot, that anyone knows of at least.
Question for those viewing: does he sound robotic, or is it just my headset? Anyways, let's keep on going. Um, um, so why did you start TVT America?
Hmm. Um, Before starting TVT America, I had represented large multinational manufacturers in the same industry, billion-dollar companies. So I worked 12 years as a manufacturer's representative, which meant I would be the go-between um, between large companies. In my case, it was Sumitomo Heavy Equipment, Heavy Machinery, and NTN Bearing. So I had a range of big companies that I represented to others. The problem was that once we would bring their business up to a certain level, they would replace us because we were independent agents. We were making a commission, and they would replace us with a direct employee that hires someone like yourself straight out of college and pay them small money, and then we'd have to find another company to represent. So I did that for 12 years, and I got a good education of that. But when I started TVT America, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to be work with family businesses, smaller companies. Um, be able to succeed and fail on my own, or a lot of times you work with I had a good job before. The firm that I worked for, really excellent employer, and gave me a lot of freedom, which works for me. One of those kind of people that you give me the problem, I find the solutions. But I wanted to do something that I could build for myself and for my family, not somebody else's family. So when you're an employee, what you get is a paycheck and maybe a retirement, but the company's not yours. It's something you're building for somebody else, either for the investors or the owner of the business, whoever they are. And I wanted to also, you get to live one life, and I wanted to make some part of the world a better place, which is, you know, do something correct, not just everything about money, but actually help people, help my customers, help my manufacturing make a better life and make the world a better place, which is, I think, what we all want to do.
Mhm. I might have missed it. Sorry, my audio was just going crazy for some reason. Did you mention when you started this business?
Yep, January of 2003.
So, and mentioned how you started up.
Yeah, with nothing, no money. I've been in this for a long time, and I sent it. Wasn't the people that I knew, wasn't from having rich relatives or anything like that. It was, I got on the internet, and the internet was pretty young back then, but I found some companies that were interesting to me. I was particularly inspired with the Italians because of their design and their being the workshop of Europe. So I found a company called Trimec and Varmec, and they had formed a group called TVT Group in Europe. And our group has, I mean, I own TVT America for all of North America, but we also have offices in Sweden, Germany, France, as well as headquarters in Italy.
Cool. It's. I already know most of this stuff, so it's mostly just sharing this with the viewers. If the viewers have any questions, feel free to post them. I'll relay them.
Yeah,
I have the chat up.
and we can cover any questions if there's.
Yeah, if anyone has like questions about how to start a business or any of that. Yeah, and like you had a few other businesses before TVT America, or during while TVT America. Oh, we have a question. How has the industry changed 2003 versus now?
In this industry, one of the things I like about it is that it's not flat screen TVs or really technology forward. It's technology, but it's more of a slower developing technologies. but the marketing and communication side of it has, the internet has had a huge impact on our industry, and the companies that didn't adapt to that well didn't grow at the same pace. Also, what was in the 1990s, there were still in the United States, we had multiple companies that were producing like ours. They got acquired by big banking conglomerates because it's a money-making business. Power transmission is everywhere. And so private equity and money groups would buy companies, lay off the staff, get rid of the manufacturing, ship everything to China. So no innovation in the United States. It was just about money. Where the Italians were constantly improving, making more automation, building in-house. So that's how it's changed a lot. So the Italians did it right. In the United States, we lost a lot of our electric motors. You have to have those, and we outsourced to China. Gearboxes, you have to have those. We outsourced that to China. Many things like that. So that's where in the U.S. it's changed a lot. And it created a market opportunity for us because we don't do anything in China.
Mhm. Back on to questions. Do you have any advice for someone that's interested in starting a business? What type of businesses are it's good to get into?
You should know something about what you're going to do. For me, like I said earlier, I started pushing a broom in a distributor of power transmission because I knew an industry that I wanted to get into. You want to get into, if there's something that you're fascinated with, get whatever job you can get. I wasn't too good to push a broom. I grew up on a farm, not afraid of work. So I learned everything, and I could, but even if there's no teachers, I would take the catalogs that were in my business and read mostly all information is in the front and the back of a catalog. The middle is just data sets, but you can learn everything you need to learn if you can read. So if you're going to start a business, first become somewhat of an expert in something. And for a young person, and I think I've told you this, Austin, too, you want to be in the cutting edge of technologies or what's new, and you want to be an expert in that. Like right now, I would be very strong in AI if I was, and that's something I'm interested in myself, but especially at your age and in the 20s and teens, you should know AI. You should learn how to apply AI as an example, because old guys and older people that are the owners of things that control the money, that they don't have that expertise. So you can be an expert in a new technology and bring value to the market. So once you know something about the industry, and you go work for somebody else, learn what the market is, but stay at plastic. Keep your mind fresh and soft so that you can say, this is the way we do it. So that's what I would advise for a young person to first learn something. Also, quit making excuses. I started with nothing, like literally no money.
All right, and then we have a question from a viewer. What was the hardest obstacle you faced when starting a business, and how did you overcome it?
My particular industry is one that's very capital intense. We are in the field of billionaires. It's not a coffee shop, and so it takes a lot of money. You don't go to banks or wealthy people and say, "Hey, I'm brilliant. I have great ideas. Give me money." That doesn't work. Why should they take a risk like that on you, especially big money? So what I did is I started small, and to get the cash that I needed, I started a real estate business because banks would loan money on real estate. Then I started a printing business because I could, um, Xerox gave me the printer for free. All I had to do is pay for the ink and paper. And then I started TVT. So at the same time, I started 3 different businesses. The real estate is what gave me the cash because I had all my mortgages for 10 years. So I had multiple houses, apartment buildings, all started from a $2,500 tax return. Um, so in 10 years, I had the cash I needed to really start investing in TVT. So it took a long time. But hard money, you'll hear the term hard money. It's very hard to come by. Hard money is that kind of money, the money that you have cash. That's hard to get. And I've already done I did a private placement memorandum where you have investors. I did that in the late 90s with the micro tumbler. We raised $1 million. So I've done that. I've done that route also. But then you have investors. Now you have people that they're looking for the return and they want it soon. So it's not free money. Those days are gone. Question?
Back to my question. What are some important characteristics to have to run a successful business, and how have you stuck with those characteristics?
Number one, I would say delayed gratification. If you're I've had people work for me, and I've seen people that you practically have to pay them before they start, or you have to pay them at the end of the day, or they have to be paid at the end of the week. They can't delay gratification. They have to have it right now. When you're an entrepreneur, you're working for free, as in FREE, free. You do not get immediate money back. You have to, and if the money that you get from selling the product, which is important, it has to be reinvested back into the business, especially if you're a high growth business like ours. We've doubling and doubling and doubling and doubling. To do that, you have to keep putting the profits back into the business. So delayed gratification. Just in general in life, spend less than you earn. It seems pretty simple, but it's very difficult for people. They want to be an entrepreneur so they can be rich and buy things, and it's not going to work that way. So spend less than you earn. Pay your bills. That's something that I have a lot of people that owe us money, and I'm very careful with who I allow net 30 terms or open terms, because if people don't pay their bills, it's kind of a red light on the dash of your business saying that this company is heading for bankruptcy. So I don't care what you need to do, but pay your suppliers, pay your bills. I've heard people say, "Oh, pay yourself first." That's a neat idea. Pay your suppliers, because they're oxygen that you breathe. If you don't have suppliers or partners, you're not going to have a business long. You have to be willing to work as much as needed to get the job done. Again, something I see with people that are not very successful, they come to work late every day. Even if you're an employee, think of your job as an entrepreneurship. Like your job, you're an entrepreneur for your boss, basically. So come on time, come 10 minutes early. Don't eat your breakfast at the desk. Be at least fake that you're a kind of person that has your act together. But 8 hours is just a number, right? There's times when you have to work 10, 12, 14, whatever it takes hours. Just do the work. It's not a big deal. Just see through it. And in the future, maybe you'll have something. But there are times where you need to basically live at the office or live at wherever your job is. Vision. That's something also it's important to develop a vision. So you need to kind of see where you're going, where you want to take your business, where you want to take your life, and start imagining what that's going to be like. totally visualize that. Same goes for product development. When I have an idea of a product that I'm going to develop or design, I'll make a cardboard model of whatever I can, just get the thing in front of my face so I can actually really start developing the vision. That's paid off 1,000 times for me. It's just build a prototype from what you got and quit making excuses. So that's an important characteristic to have is vision. You'll find when they talk about a lot of entrepreneurs, they talk about somebody being visionary. Well, yeah, you're going to do something that other people say is impossible, is crazy, blah, blah, blah. If you do what other people do, you're going to have what other people have. If you want to have the things that you want, you're going to have to see it. You're going to have to believe it. You're going to have to have the vision for it. It's a good skill to develop. Now in college, definitely. Envision yourself as a college graduate. Envision yourself as a successful engineer, entrepreneur, whatever it is you want to be. Start envisioning that now. How would, let's say, if you want to envision on being a good, having a beautiful wife and a lovely home, whatever it is. Start envisioning, okay, what does she look like? What does your home look like? In that vision, start putting in the places. And if you can develop those kind of vision, that kind of vision, it will help you in everything you do. So, I mean, that's worked for me. So I'm living a dream, basically. I'm living the dreams that I had when I was a child.
Mhm. Okay, so someone was interested in hearing more about real estate. How do you get into real estate now with minimal capital?
Not that difficult.
Do you think there's a
How did I do it? How did I do it? So let me paint the picture. So let's see, Austin, you were how old? 4 or 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Josie was your gender, and Ava was a year behind you, and we had a house full of kids living in a rent house in one of the poorest counties in Oklahoma, basically an Indian reservation. And so, how do you start a real estate empire from that? Right? I had good credit because I keep my word. That's important. You have good credit because I've given you credit basically by having my credit card. So you have 800 plus credit. You got to have that. You got to have good credit. If you don't have good credit, it's definitely more difficult, but you can do it. Anyway, your mother was watching, I think it was Oprah Winfrey or some silly show like that, and Robert Kiyosaki came on. And at this time, the reason that we were in kind of tight financial spot is the company that I had founded and sold and retired from, Larry, my partner, got killed in a motorcycle accident. So the $6,000 a month that I was getting from my patent royalties business dried up pretty quick after Larry died because the business investors that we raised the $1 million in the private placement memorandum, which is it's just like Shark Tank, basically, with no cameras. It's just meeting in a lawyer's office. But anyway, he died and I had to start all over from scratch. So as an engineer in Oklahoma, there wasn't jobs for me. So the Robert Kiyosaki kind of Rich Dad, Poor Dad book really opened up my mind to how you can start investing in real estate. And we started with a $30,000 rent house. And the bank borrowed me money. I had $2,500 to put down. The bank borrowed us the balance. And it wasn't that big a risk. I figured if things don't work out, we could always live in it. So I went in there, lightly remodeled it, put a tenant in at $450 a month, $450. Our mortgage was $200. We had insurance, taxes, which maybe another $50, $60. It wasn't that much. And so we're cash flowing almost the day we bought it. I mean, took me just a few weeks to get the interior painted and the floors. It had carpet all over the floor, so I refinished the floors to wood. So that's how I started. But first I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad and got kind of motivated and some ideas on how to invest in real estate. And anyway, from the first property, so now we're cash flowing, and I kept good records. I did like Kiyosaki said. I'd go in and visit with my banker, Richard Carr, at the time at First United Bank there in Oklahoma, and tell him where I was at financially. And so when the next opportunity to buy a property would come up, then I could go into Richard, and he knew me. He knew what I was trying to do, and having a bank. Yeah, having a banker on your team. You have these experts in your life. You have your banker, you have your lawyer. You can have some realtors work with you. Cultivating those relationships and treating their time as valuable and respecting them pays off big time. I mean, the banker might say, "Hey, we've got a property that's coming into receivership. Maybe you'd like to buy this. I think it'd be a good one for you." And you can get inside deals. I never did that, but I know others have. Mm-hmm. So it's the first property to buy the next property. So we kept developing equity in each property by improving it and putting tenants in them. And before you know it, I think, honestly, it was maybe 2 years. And I was making $4,000 or $5,000 a month off my real estate. And real estate doesn't require you to be someplace between 8 and 5. So I had the flexibility to start other businesses.
Yeah.
But that's how I start. Firstly, anybody that read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, learn to play the cash flow game, get a group of people that are like-minded that want to make something of themselves. You don't have to have a rich uncle or wealthy parents or anything like that to get started. You just have to learn. Mm-hmm. And you can do it today. It's not that big a deal. You can do contract for deed. You can do all different types of things to get into real estate, but you have to learn something. And there's books out there, and there's people, and you can learn it. It's like learning anything else.
Yeah, I know. I know. I remember when back in Oklahoma, you guys would do work on the house, and then we would paint.
Yeah, I had my family with me throughout the whole thing. You were there.
Yeah, I remember. It was fine. It wasn't too bad, really.
At least I was around. I could have been making more money, making six-figure income and never see me.
Yeah.
I'd rather be with my family and do that. You guys come first.
Yeah. It was fun.
I'm glad I didn't abuse you too much.
No. A lot of I think a little bit of painting, painting some walls isn't too hard. Right. You never had us lift anything heavy. It was just painting, which most kids do that.
It's kind of fun. But, I listen to people that bitch about their situation in life, like they're victims.
Don't use certain words.
Complain about their situation in life. And it's your life. You're the captain of your own ship. Why are you, do something about it. And if you can't get the job done in 8 hours, try 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or work till you get the job done. But if you're going to be a victim of, my boss doesn't pay me enough, he doesn't appreciate me, I never get the chances.
Well, then it's the wrong job.
Well, it's pathetic. There is no job like that. There is no job where the boss is working to make you rich. What job is that?
Mm-hmm. I understand.
Yeah, get out there and make it happen. It's America. You're lucky. Travel a bit. See what it's like in other places. If you can't make it in America, you're never going to make it.
We have another viewer question. Any personal goals for the next few years?
For me personally, yes. I just
and I need to scale. I need to pause for just a moment. I need to find my charger. My laptop's not plugged in, and it's about to die. So, second.
Charge for commercial break. Are you live, Austin?
you think it's plugged in after you plug everything else in, but it's not always that way. Anyways, I'm back. So
Is your podcast live right now?
yes, it is live. You gotta have a little spice when it's something live.
What are my personal goals? All right, I just got off the scale. As you know, I've been on a carnivore diet for 6 weeks. No sugar, no alcohol, right? And I've lost 20 pounds. Just got back from a cruise. That was fun on Virgin. And got on the scale. And right now, I want to get my fitness goals ironed out. So weight-wise, I'm fine, but I'm going to increase my muscle mass and reduce my body fat, my visceral fat, so the fat inside. So if you drink alcohol, you're going to get fat inside. You don't really want that, or a big belly.
Yeah.
I have no desire to have one of those. But we're going to check in 6 months, see where we're at. So I think we're already making good progress. So that's my personal goals. Also, I struggle with language. I want to keep working on speaking Italian. It's important. I have 16 factories in Italy, and just even any development you can in Italian in the language of the businesses that you're working with helps. It's just a respect thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm working on Italian. We'll be in Italy this summer for 4 to 6 weeks. It'll give me a chance to work on that.
The meetup.
After the COVID, I got to meet with all my partners. Like I said, we have 16 factories now, 16 different partners. The company grew up from 3 companies to a lot more. So much bigger. There's companies that need. We have more companies that want us to represent them now and approach us, and I can't spread us that thin.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is a good follow-up to the next question from the viewer. How do you handle risk-taking and uncertainty in business? I have my answer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have my answer.
You have to, as an entrepreneur, you have to take risk, but
you have to calculate it.
Well, for sure. But what's the first rule of wing walking, Austin? You want to have a good grasp on the wing that you're walking to.
Mm-hmm.
Let go of the one that you're on. But you reduce risk as much as possible and you calculate the reward. People imagine that entrepreneurs are high-risk people, skydivers without parachutes or something. We're not. We have if I develop a product, I usually have a plan A and I have a plan B in mind. I work too hard for my money. I'm not a gambler, you know that. I don't hope to win in a coin toss. I don't waste time with things like that. If I'm going to gamble, I can gamble in my business and have much better odds.
Mm-hmm. So you have the confidence of your business.
I know my business.
Yeah.
If you want to get into some business, right? You want to reduce your risk of failure. Work for somebody in that business. You want to start a t-shirt business, an iron-on t-shirt business. Go work for somebody. You think that you want to be a baker? Go work for a baker. Just any job. Work for free. A lot of people can't do that. They're, oh God, I got to get this much money. It's like, no, you're getting an education. Get over yourself.
Did you ever work for free?
Sure. This business. Well, I worked for other people. I used to unload. A lot of us kids from where I grew up, we would load butter onto semi trucks, 50-gallon or 50-pound blocks of butter from the creamery onto a semi, and at the end we'd get a chocolate milk. I don't see many people doing that.
Yeah.
If work is fun if you let it be. It's not. You're not being tormented. Plus, any of y'all out there that gets to work for SpaceX or Tesla or some of these companies, I would take that job in a minute. Forget the money. You're going to learn so much. You're going to make yourself valuable. Mm-hmm. You're young engineers. You don't know anything. I didn't know anything. You learn by being in the field, by working in the field. So you want to be places where you can learn. Learning is more important than earning in the beginning. Learning will bring to earning. It'll bring you to the earning. So yeah, work for free. If it's something you really want to do, someone you really want to work for, go get after it. You're thinking about the dollars. Think about what you're going to learn.
Mm.
So
Yeah. And
if your job is boring and dull and you're not learning anything, look for another job. Get the other job and then quit. Don't quit and then start looking for a job. That's the first rule of wing walking.
mm-hmm.
Good hold on the next position. And then when you're young, once you do know a little something, go forth and try and expect failure. You know, expect your rocket to blow up on the launch pad, so you can hurry up and learn and move on to the next. Because when you're first starting out, you don't have a wife, you don't have children, or you don't have a lot of responsibilities. You don't have a mortgage. A lot of these things that are just basically liabilities. Um, when you don't have liabilities like that, like a mortgage, for example, or a big car payment, failing is not that big a deal. You can go broke and start again. It's easy.
I mean, yeah, it's good to have someone with you that's okay with going broke. I know
Yeah, your
I know
mom's.
mom said several times if you ever go broke, she'll still love you because used to she's she whenever she was younger, she lived with the uncertainty of I mean
She grew up
so
in an entrepreneurial family.
yeah. It's just a part of the lifestyle really.
Well, your
But it
fears
can be.
consume you. I mean, let's say
Mhm.
you're afraid of going broke. You'll probably be just above broke for your whole life, if that's your main fear. Or if you don't take on your fears directly, and I can't do that because I might lose. I can't try this because it might not work out. Well, you'll never have anything. You
Mhm.
have to be confident enough to try, and big enough of a person to deal with the failure. It was not very fun when I was retired and going to college, and Larry died. Second time we were on QVC, drank a bunch of beer, got on his Harley, had an accident, laid in a coma for a week, and died.
Mhm.
That was not good. He was a good friend of mine, and I went from being retired with 6,000 a month to out of work with no income.
Mhm.
I was doing consulting work and things like that, but not like a steady income that you need.
Yeah. And this was 6,000 in in the 2000s, which was
Yeah, it was
like
decent money. I was
early
making more than
2000s, you know.
that with my job, but I also had more liabilities too.
Yeah. Kind of saying
Yeah, it was decent money.
it's a real well, it's a really good wage too, especially
It's
in
not a wage.
right. Yeah, I
Hey,
know, but it's a decent amount of money to
how
get
you
per
make
month.
money matters. You'll learn that from Rich Dad. If you're making your money as a W-2 wage earner, it's totally
Mhm.
different than a K-1.
Yeah. Okay, so we got another question from a viewer. Um, what role do you think innovation plays in the success of a business, and how do you foster a culture of innovation in your business? I kind of already know about this.
What are your thoughts, Austin?
Um, so from what I've observed, it's um, yes, with you try to have innovation in TVT America, like with nameplates, also the future plans with for like wiring up a motor, but also and that using those skills that you have, being an expert in power transmission for other projects such as um, um, the lift you're working on, and then some of your other things that you worked on, working on.
I would say innovation, an application of innovation depends on the industry you're in. But in my case, I'm in a very, like I said, capital intense. It takes a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of big super tanker type companies, basically, and I'm a speedboat.
Mm-hmm.
So innovation can help you leapfrog the super tanker. You got to move faster. Just using the internet, a lot of people ask me about what do we spend in advertising? Nothing. I don't need to. I use innovation. I learned SEO long time ago. I still have people in my industry that are owners of businesses that don't know what SEO is. They're talking about, oh, we're going to be advertising, or we're going to be working on our internet marketing campaign. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. What are you doing? Oh, we have an agency, and we're spending $5,000 a month on Google AdWords.
But you don't need to.
Neat, It's like some slick came and sold you on that concept, but I'm interested right now, as you know, on AI and applying it. I'm not afraid of it. To me, it's just another tool. Like before the calculator, you had the slide rule.
Mm.
It's just a tool. Yeah, it can be super dangerous. We could all die, but we can also
The
make
calculator is very dangerous in a way.
we can well look at it's like with banks. The reason bank buildings are so big is because they used to be filled with people.
Mm-hmm.
Write everything down, and then along came the computer. The reason telephone company buildings are so big is because they used to have these huge, relay systems.
Mm-hmm. Plugging people in.
So technology hurt the person at the bank and the person that was, making the connections manually at the phone company.
Mm-hmm.
But other things were created, and those people found jobs. So you want to be as flexible as possible, and evolve with innovation.
Mm-hmm. Go with the trend.
So, yeah, innovation is huge, but and especially for young persons in college. For example, a bookkeeper, accountant. They come out of school. They don't know anything about QuickBooks or Peachtree or AccountEdge or any type of bookkeeping software. They can tell you all about assets and liabilities and debits and credits. But what the businesses need is somebody who provides value today. I've had all those classes. That doesn't help me with really running my books. So using innovation in accounting can really help a business. So innovation has a lot of applications in every business. That's just different. Like AutoCAD when it first came out, or modeling of products. It's awesome.
Makes drawing stuff a lot easier.
Well, making a prototype of something without having to spend money on the tooling, right?
Yeah,
or 3D printing. We 3D printed the micro tumbler before we put to production, because we had to invest over 100,000 in injection mold tooling. And back in the late 90s, that was how you did it. You draw it, and then you would, you better hope it's right. So what we did is a 3D printed product. And at that time, it cost us thousands. I think it was 5,000-6,000. But we use a 3D printed prototype to present a working model to the investors and raised $1 million. Me and a butcher, because that was my partner. Larry was a butcher, had a butcher shop. That went on to QVC. That was in Sky Mall. That was in Cabela's, Bass Pro Shop. Me and a butcher. The 3D printed model is how we raised the money. It was a fun experience. Then we used the university for developing. We have 6 patents on that product. We used the university to develop the food safety testing, and so we worked with the State University of Minnesota. Mm-hmm. But it was just basically tests and studies done on our parameters of what we wanted to look at. So that helped us, gave us some credibility also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good idea to have people that's what they do, out of external help to verify that what you have is good, and that if they're willing to back it on you're trying to check for, then it means it's
Right. With university professor doing research brings to the table, in our case is they had no reason to promote our ideas. And you want to find out when you're developing something, if you're positive, entrepreneurs tend to be positive people. You want to be able to see what you missed, right? Like, I think that this is going to work, and the results look good, but what is the science saying? That's where meat science. In that case, it was meat science, um, and we were washing produce that a machine. This part of our machine would make E. coli, listeria, things like that. That were a big deal at that time. Food safety would wash away 99.99% of those things, and that was proven by the university, not by entrepreneurs who were trying to sell a product.
yeah, the real the truth.
Yeah, and you want the truth. As an entrepreneur or business owner,
Don't make stuff.
provide good things, products that you would want, that you want your mom to have, that you want your kids to have, that you want your friends to have, because it's good, not because you want their money. You give it to them. Please enjoy this. It's great. It's going to make your life better. Everybody wants to do that.
Yeah.
If you keep that basic principle, things will be fine for you.
Builds your social credibility.
Well, it's for all the right reasons, though. For all the right reasons. You want to do good. Everybody does. It's fundamental. So help people is what we all want to do. It's not about the money. That's a very short-sighted. Money is just the electricity that runs a machine. If you don't have it, the machine don't run. But the main thing is putting forth and developing good things. That's any successful business is like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're misguided. They have a different agenda than what you might agree with. But if you met the founders and you met the people that run the business, in general, they're trying to make the world a better place. And if not, they're not going to be very successful.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is you do in life, I don't care. I have respect for any job. Any job.
Your father was a janitor.
Do a good job of it. Make that part of the world better.
Did you hear?
What's that?
Grandpa Salvi was a janitor.
Yeah.
You know.
So when I was born in 1965, way back in the ancient days, my dad had a farm. He was a farmer, and he milked cows. He also did electrical work. He was an electrician on weekends and nights. He's a pretty good builder too. He could do about anything with his hands. But the cows, the dairy was just twice a day milking cows, and at the end, he was not making any money. So what he did is he sold the cows, his dairy herd, and then he took a job at the University of Minnesota as a janitor, which was great because you're a farmer. You don't get health insurance as a farmer. You don't have retirement as a farmer. You don't get paid vacation as a farmer. Definitely don't get retirement, So your grandpa started out as a janitor and treated his job as a janitor just like he did everything else. Next thing you know it, he was the head of the floor of the dormitory.
Mm-hmm.
And then next he was the head of the whole building. The whole dorm. And then all the dorms, he was the head janitor. And then he was moved over to plant supervising as plant supervisor. So there's the provost, there's the educational side of a university, and then there's the mechanical side of the university, who mows the lawns, who paints things, who cleans things, who removes the snow, all that. And took over that position. Then he took over the purchasing also. So he was basically, by the time he retired, the last 10 years, all the janitors, all the electricians, all the plumbers, um, everything, all the purchasing, like all the buses, like the Greyhound buses that they use for teams to go places, all the swimming pools, all of those things, the power plant that they had, everything was underneath your grandpa. So it started as a janitor, and my godfather was my school janitor. I never thought of it ever as being anything but awesome. They had keys to all the rooms, whatever you
Yeah.
wanted. And everybody knew my dad. Everybody in the end worked for my dad, except for the professors. And the professors knew my dad and respected my dad. And so it was be a good janitor, know what right chemicals to use. No, there's nothing wrong. That's an awesome job. Plus you get, especially for working for the state, he retired at 57, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're younger than me and lived to be 93 and got a pension. The state pension isn't forever. Can't beat that.
Yep.
So, yeah, be a good janitor though. Whatever you do, be good at it. Put some energy in it. Know what it's about.
Yeah. Well, we got 8 minutes, so.
What more do you want?
So, someone asked, did you deal with any work trauma or collaboration with another business partner? We kind of talked about that with Larry, how he died, a motorcycle accident, and also,
there's always work.
It's just gonna happen.
I would say, if people aren't busy, you have a lot of foolishness that goes on in an office, and that's dangerous, really dangerous, because there's politics and things you don't want to be involved in. You want to stay out of that. Opinions that you don't need to have, they're not worth it. So if you're busy, you don't have that. But if you have a lot of free time, I've noticed that when I was going through university, I worked at the soils lab. I did research, and they just didn't have enough work. The regular employees had too much time to screw around, and that's just doesn't lead to good things. You want to stay busy for your own sake, Plus the time goes faster.
Yeah, and while you're busy, it is okay to have a bit of fun,
Yeah,
but
just have strawberry fights. We were harvesting strawberries and measuring the weight of the strawberries for different varieties, right?
Mm-hmm.
And once we were done, there's nothing like pelting somebody else with a nice juicy strawberry.
Yeah, but you got so what we're getting out of the question is to avoid work trauma. You want to have work. You want people to have work to do, but you do want to be acceptable. Have a bit of fun mixed in. But if it's not fun, they're not having any fun. It's like there's no breaks.
But as far as work drama, I won't go into, not with my companies. There's some people that you can have in your life that cause a lot of drama. Mm-hmm. That you just need to. I'm not saying be hateful to them or anything, but you need to move
distance
them
yourself.
Yeah, because someone who has, they drink too much, they say ridiculous things,
you don't need to be around them.
Yeah, it's for your own sake. Just not to judge them. It's just you're going to be like the people you spend time with, right? To a certain degree, they're going to impact you. So be careful about who you choose to spend time with. If you're working at a company that's got a lot of foolishness going on, right? Be it sexual harassment or racism or nonsense, look for a different place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, stuff like that's not acceptable.
It's gonna impact your relationships. It's gonna impact your marriage. I mean, number one, why are you working? Are you working for? You're working for your family. You're working to make other people's lives better that are around you. And if you're in a situation that's bringing that down, That's kind of why I got out of manufacturers repping. Also, my firm was fine, but I saw the next step up would be to work towards being a regional manager, a direct employee for somebody, or being vice president of sales. And I noticed a lot of these people had, red noses, big bellies, divorces. I didn't want any part of that, because I was working for my family. Family was most important. I didn't want to disappoint my parents. I didn't want to, end up in a bad situation.
Yep.
And if you're away from your family a lot and you're drinking, doing stupid things with stupid people, bad things happen.
Yeah. And okay, 2 minutes. Like we can move on to the closing questions. Do you have any events going on that you would like to share?
No.
I figured. I know when we have events going
I've done
on.
shows and things like that, and I find them to be yesteryear's tools, a waste of time, a lot of money. But we will be going to Italy for most of July and part of June. Looking forward to that. And we're introducing some new products, really exciting stuff. It'll be, our new website will be getting developed. We're pretty old right now. But
It's still good.
It needs to be better. But
Yeah.
I don't know, we'll be making more things.
Yeah.
I've got another patent that I told you about, but I can't discuss yet. That will be pretty exciting stuff. And
some innovation.
Yeah, we're doing some IoT stuff, which I love that. It's fun. Applying new technology to a static industry is like a secret sauce.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that potentially in the next, within the next year about how that's going. Are you looking for any
exciting
internships
times right now with AI because we're in a very high cycle change.
Yeah,
the pace of change is very quick.
Yeah. Are you looking for any interns by chance? Or are you open for people interning or like asking to? Are you open to people asking?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that there's something that there has to be a good exchange of value.
Yeah, they need
to provide value for my time, and I need to be able to provide value for their time, right? It has to be just not a waste of time. It has to be a good trade of value.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things I need done, and exciting things to work on.
I know.
But if you want to go work for a big organization where you, I don't know,
working the 9 to 5.
Yeah, there's many fun things to do. That's for sure. It's just we're a small company. Big companies would have different uses for interns.
Mm-hmm. Different programs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our program would be more individual based.
Okay, so we're at
Nick.
Yeah, so we're at the 2:00. We'll close it off with. Do you have a quote that you like? Your favorite quote that you would like to share? Like Rashad Pordad? Anything?
Nope.
No quotes.
The only quote would be used to be this Reverend Robert Schuller, and he would say, "Great people are ordinary people with an extraordinary amount of determination." And I like that because there's potential in everybody. But you got to work for
it. I know you've worked quite a bit for your company, everything.
You got to work hard to have this much fun.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks, Austin.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Mark. So that's it for the podcast. Some last minute thing. If you'd like to join ACME, leave a message in the live, and I'll reach out to you. If there's anyone here that would like to be a guest, for for this podcast, also leave a comment and I'll reach out to you. We are interested in uh, subjects such as entrepreneurship, technology, uh, learning opportunities, finances. Uh, be a bit more comfortable learning if there's some technology or something that you care to tutorial guys come on by. Love to have something like that. Um, that's all the time we have. Thanks everyone for watching. This has been our first podcast. I'm very happy with it, how it's going so far, and I look forward to future podcasts. All right, so